In a statement put out May 8, 2022 by the Los Angeles Fire Department, talks about my guest, who was the 2022 Fire Service Day Honorary Fire Chief. He's an active and engaged member of the community with an unwavering dedication to supporting the LAFD. Not only has his restaurant hosted countless fundraisers helping with family needs for LAFD members, but he directly supports Fire Station 88 with meals for events, including during COVID and FEMA team deployments and training. Please welcome to the program 2022 Fire Service Day Honorary Fire Chief and restaurant owner in the greater LA area, Mr. Paul Gravano.
Where's the applause?
There it is. I also understand, Paul, that you are intending to run for office, having threatened to do so for many, many years. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I'm fed up with Lindsay Horvath, the 3rd District LA County Supervisor. Talk about misplaced priorities. All she cares about is pride and defunding police and depopulating the jails and, quote, decarcerating the jails. So Lindsay Horvath is, she's an enemy of the state. She is destructive. She has no idea what she's talking about when it comes to being the board, when she was the chairman of the board of directors of the Metro, when they were going through murders and stabbings, every other day. She was the president at one point of president of the board of directors. This is a woman who knows nothing about anything. So I think it's time for the adults to take charge. She's a child, and she acts like a child. I don't know if you saw the press conference one of the days, maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and she was wearing a cross hanging upside down, which is, all sorts of symbols associated with that. So it's time for her to go. So in 2026, she's up for re-election. I've never run for office before. I have no interest in running for office, but I think this is the only way anything's going to change in LA is if the leadership changes, which I think we're going to probably get into a little bit later. But as for right now, my intentions are to run against Lindsay Horvath for the 3rd District LA County Supervisor seat, and that district runs from the Ventura County line to the north, so basically Malibu to the north down to Venice, and then coming in to West LA, parts of Beverly Hills, and then cutting up, and includes the entire San Fernando Valley. Mm-hmm. So it's a huge district, very important. It includes the airport, it includes the VA, it includes, pretty sure it includes UCLA, the entire West Side, and the entire San Fernando Valley, nearly the entire San Fernando Valley. So she's in charge of all that, and this is a woman who is, January 13th? She's already planning for June Pride Month. That's really all she has in mind. When she was a city council member in the city of West Hollywood, she voted to defund half of her sheriff department because the sheriff takes care of West Hollywood, police West Hollywood. They had 16 deputies. She cut it in half to 8. And then when she ran for supervisor and sadly won, immediately after she won, the rest of the city council in West Hollywood rehired those 8 deputies and brought them back up to 16. She's a disaster, she's destructive, and she's got to go. So if I were Lindsay Horvath right now, I would be very, very frightened because I'm coming after her. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have any money anymore. I don't like begging people for money like politicians have to do, but I got a lot of time between now and then. But I'm gonna try to unseat her and see what we can do to make some change.
We've got 10,000 buildings that have been destroyed in whole or in part, 24 people dead that we know of so far. What could have been done, should have been done to have mitigated this disaster?
If we would have had a competent command staff at the fire department, I don't think we would have had a fire to speak of at all. Chief Kristen Crowley is the epitome of the disaster of what DEI is. And I think this will be the tipping point for what turns DEI around, as well as Trump coming into office and guys like Pete Hegseth who say that they will get rid of DEI in the military. She was basically, from the time she was a captain, on a glide path to become the first female fire chief. I sent you a clip of her when she was on Kelly Clarkson, where she is describing going from firefighter paramedic to engineer to captain 2 to battalion chief. And then she said, and I was the first female fire marshal. And then I went on to become the fire chief. And she did all that in a matter of like about 12 years. And that doesn't happen in the fire. You don't go from captain to the fire chief in 12 years unless there's an agenda. Once she got into, well, let's go back a real quick second to what you said before. In 2022, the fire department named me the honorary fire chief. And at that ceremony at Station 88, Chief Crowley was there. She's the one who handed me the plaque, and then took pictures with me, and then made the mistake of giving me a microphone so I could make a speech. And in that speech, I called her out, I called the city out, I called Barbara Ferrer out for the damage that was being done to the fire department. Nithya Raman, the city council member in District 4, Los Angeles City Council, was also in the room. And I got a big beef against her as well for being a defunder. And what I said was basically that the fire department is now the de facto police, and because of that, the fire department should be issued CCWs if they want. I called out Barbara Ferrer for having this COVID mandate, which was causing firefighters to get fired. And then I called out Chief Crowley for being weak and not taking care of the men who need her help, because at the time it was horrible. And well, still, they're committing suicide. They're not being paid because of this new paycheck system that they have. And of course, they're being overlooked for promotions because Chief Crowley's first initiative was DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. She quickly promoted Deputy Chief Chris Larson, who, as I called her on another show, a big fat blob. She's in charge of recruiting, and she started the DEI Bureau, which right now has an $8 million budget and employs 22 positions, captains and chiefs, in the DEI Bureau. And their sole purpose, as Chris Larson, stuck her foot in her mouth and said, is when you have a fire or an emergency at your house, you want someone who looks like you, right, to rescue you. And the question was, well, what if a man is in that fire and you have to carry a man out? And Chris Larson's quote, I'm going to paraphrase, was, well, if you're a man, why did you get yourself in that position anyway to be rescued? That's Chris Larson.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
She was named the city's first female fire chief. Say that 5 times fast. And that's not the only barrier she broke through, y'all. She's also the department's first openly gay leader as well. So let's welcome and congratulate soon-to-be Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
So say hi to Louisa.
Hi, Louisa. Nice to see you. Thank you.
So this is such an accomplishment. So congratulations on everything. So I can only imagine what it took to get to this point, right?
Yeah, it's been quite an amazing journey. Nearly 23 years on the department, and just being really thoughtful. I've promoted through the ranks for a real reason, and that is to create the credibility behind my name. So promoted from firefighter, paramedic, engineer, fire inspector, captain 1, captain 2, battalion chief, deputy chief, assistant chief, first female fire marshal, chief deputy, and now the 19th fire chief in the history of the LAFD.
You know what I love most about that is I think it's important when people do come up like that, because then you really understand what everybody's vocation is like around you.
Paul, what is the sexual orientation of a fire?
Notice how when she says I was promoted for real reasons, she stutters and she can't hold eye contact. She goes, I was promoted for for real reasons. Like she has to think about it. Yeah, I mean, I saw a fire the other day. Two male fires were holding hands. Like I don't want. I came up with a saying, which is because when I was attending the Board of Rights hearings for 7 different firefighters who were being fired for not taking the vax, there was a sign in the Board of Commissioners boardroom that says, "Diversity is our strength." And I came up with a saying that is, diversity is not our strength, strength is. And I had a picture of a big firefighter, lifting like 150 pounds over his head. I don't care what a firefighter looks like. I want him to be able to pull that steering wheel out of my chest. I want him to be able to pull a steel girder off of a little girl who it just fell on top of. That's what I want my firefighter to look like. I don't care who my firefighter sleeps with. I don't care what color my firefighter is. I want my firefighter to be able to do the job as it is trained and as the standards call out. But the problem is what Chris Larson pioneered in the 90s was to just change the standards. So no longer do they have to bring a 24-foot extension ladder up all the way up to the top. There's 12 rungs. You don't have to bring it all the way up to, you only have to bring it up to like the 9th or 10th rung and you pass. The standards now are, it's okay if 2 people, hold a chainsaw instead of 1 person. And this was all done, like Chris Larson said, in order to widen the pool to make it more comfortable for women and, you're not allowed to say the L word, I guess, LGBTQs into the fire department. I don't want to broaden the pool of who we bring into the fire department. I want the very best. I want the strongest. I want the smartest. I want the most dedicated, and the guys who are able to do the job and pull people out of buildings and pull hose quickly and climb ladders without a partner behind them. That's what I want my firefighter to look like. Chris Larson wants them to look like her. And if you look at Chris Larson, I think she did actually, I think she did actually lose a whole bunch of weight recently. But if you look at a couple of the videos I sent you, she's about probably 5'8" and like 240, 250 pounds. Like she's a blob. And she's in charge of recruiting. And it's all down the line. I could name 2 more in the command staff that are just absolute disasters. I was going to say before, when Chief Crowley gave me the microphone to make that speech, I blasted her. I blasted, not the department because the men appreciated it, but I blasted her. And when I was almost finished the speech, she had her 6'8" public information officer, Eric Scott, who you've probably seen on TV, bald guy, does the press conferences. She had him come over, pull my mic as she walked out of the stage right in front of me and kick me out of the station 5 minutes after she handed me that plaque and took a picture with me. That's what a weak character she is she cannot take any criticism.
And she had a non-DEI hire to take away your mic. By the way...
Exactly. Big white guy.
By the way, I think there were 115 firefighters who lost their jobs because they refused to take COVID. When the mandate was lifted, we only have 45 seconds left, Paul. When the mandate was lifted, did they all get their jobs? Did they all come back?
No, 4 of them came back.
Just 4.
And the 4 that came back had to retake the tests. Mm-hmm. And the 4 that came back were told on a Friday that they have to come back to work on Monday. Take care of all your affairs after being off the job for 929 days and come back to work on Monday. And they had to retake the tests and the whole thing. It's a disaster over there, Larry. The only thing that I think she's done. I demanded that she resign, but I think she is I think Bass told her, resign or you'll be fired. She's going to probably settle into a $25,000 a month pension, so she's got nothing to worry about. But she will not, once they get this fire contained, she will announce her resignation. That's my prediction.
Paul
pretty much.
Paul Gravano, thank you very much for coming on.